Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and it's time for another early morning book review. I'm in my pineapple pajamas, haven't gotten dressed for work yet, but I have put my makeup on so as not to shock and frighten you this early morning. So today the book we will be reviewing is two novellas in one by Mary Roberts Rinehart, and we have The Confession and Sight Unseen. And I love this little book. I love the size of it. I love the cat on the front and the phone. And I just think it's great. Also, if you look in the inside, you can belong to the Detective Book Club. And they will send you books, or they would have in 1921. Because this was copyright in, let me just get it. It's so fragile. The book is so fragile. Copyright 1921, copyright renewed 1948. So this is the 1948 version. And somebody has written at the top, both good, which I would agree with. I liked Sight Unseen far better than I liked The Confession. But let's dig in and I'll tell you about both of them. Okay, so in The Confession, you have a woman who has rented a house for her nieces and nephews. She does it every summer. She's an older woman. She's renting this house for the nieces and nephews to get out of the city of London, we assume, get out of the city over the summer so they can have, you know, some green grass and chase the ducks and everything like that. And who wouldn't love to have an auntie like that who just rents a mansion that you get to run around in? But this one is a haunted mansion in that the price is suspiciously low, and as soon as she comes into the mansion, strange things start to happen. Like, one of the strange things that starts to happen is the phone rings. They have an older phone, they only have one, and it's downstairs, and the phone rings once at night. Once or twice it will ring, and she will get up and troop downstairs and go get the phone, and there's nobody there on the phone. And she has the benefit of having a telephone operator. So she quizzes the telephone operator, and the telephone operator is very cagey and is very like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not getting phone calls at night. And so she begins to doubt her own sanity. And then the family sends some guy that they know. I don't think he's related. I think he's just a friend. But he's like a psychiatrist, as Ricky Ricardo would say. And he kind of tells her that she's going a little crazy because, I mean, if the telephone woman doesn't register any calls, then surely you're not registering any calls. And it's just being in the country and you're isolated and, you know, you're an older woman. So of course we can't credit your statements. We have to question them, which I thought was very misogynistic. But anyway, the confession is they find a little piece of paper inside the phone, like inside the receiver and everything like that. And the little piece of paper reads, I have killed a woman in this house 10 years ago, and I hope that someone finds this after I'm dead. And I don't want to reveal too much of the story to you, but I thought it was good. I thought it was, I mean, it's early in Mary Roberts Rinehart's career, so it's not fantastic. It's not The Red Lamp. It's not some of the greatest, but it's good. The Confession is pretty good. And the way, it's not really the way she figures it out, but it's the way that the story lays itself out. Now, there was a very lame ending, which I wasn't pleased with at all, but I loved the atmosphere. I loved the spooky atmosphere of the house. I love her coming downstairs and finding her sewing box would be open when she knew she shut it last night, or that the encyclopedias had been moved just a little bit and everything like that. It really gave you that sense of tension and that sense of creepiness that I love Mary Roberts for. I love Mary for that. Did you guys hear that weird thumping? That was actually my mother coming out with her walker, and I have a life update on Mom, which I'll get to after I finish my book reviews. Okay, now, moving on to Sight Unseen. Sight Unseen I liked a lot better because I liked the idea of it. So the idea of it is you have these very wealthy people, very wealthy, who are living in these big mansions, and everybody's got servants and all this kind of stuff. And at the center of this, you have Horace. Now, she must have loved the name Horace because that is the uncle's name in The Red Lamp, and it is also the name of her protagonist in Sight Unseen. And so Horace and his friends, his neighbors, they have what's called the neighborhood club. And every Monday night, a different neighbor hosts them for dinner, and they do a topic, like they do literature, or they do politics, or they do, something like that. And they have a discussion, the neighborhood club. So one time in the neighborhood club, Mrs. Dane, who's confined to a wheelchair, Mrs. Dane decides to, because she's the one who's like, I don't want to be tied down to a subject. I want to be able to do a broad range of subjects, which I think, good for you, Mrs. Dane. Don't get tied down. She decides to invite a psychic over. So she invites the psychic over, and the psychic announces that one of the neighbors has been murdered. He has been shot above the ear, and it happened that night. And they go over to the neighbor's house, they sneak in, and they find the man dead, shot above the ear. And so then the police are called, and what's really cool is that Horace and Sperry, now Horace is an older man, and he is an attorney, and Sperry is a younger man, and he is a doctor, he's a cardiologist. Excuse me for coughing like that. But they decide to take on the investigation of the murder and to try to find out whether the medium who predicted it is real, or if she had something to do with it or something like that. Now, what I loved about Sight Unseen, in addition to the murder mystery that you had going on, and then you had these two guys trying to be detectives and everything like that, and they were sort of stumbling around, and that was kind of funny, was you had a supernatural twinge to it. Was it supernatural? Was this instance supernatural, or was it not? Was it interpreted as such? And I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why I love The Red Lamp so much. It gave me that Red Lamp feel. Now, one knockoff for Mary on this, points down for Mary on this, is that at the very end, she introduces a fact that she had not introduced previously, very Agatha Christie-like, because that's one of the reasons why I get mad at Agatha, because Agatha will introduce a character, withhold a fact or something like that at the very end, and I don't like that. I mean, my thing with Mary Roberts Rinehart, one of the reasons I love her, is that in all of her other books, it's all laid out. She gives you everything, and I still can't ever figure them out. But these two novellas were just the perfect summer relief. I mean, it was, sure, they were all about fantastically rich people having fantastically amazing kind of spooky adventures and everything like that. But you did get that sense of tension, and you got that sense of, I don't know, the world that she wanted you to experience. She's very good at world building, I think. Okay, so brief update on Mom. So Mom has been complaining, I don't know if I told you, about her broken ankle, but she broke her ankle about a year ago. And, you know, she had to have surgery and she was in a boot and that was a big deal. And it was just hard to recover from. And she's never really felt better. She's never really felt better. This is going to end up in a tirade, so be ready for that. So we took her to the doctor, what was it? Wednesday. We took her to the doctor Wednesday. And they took x-rays of her foot. And, you know, the doctor is very nice, but we're all a little, and that shows all of our ageisms, and I am not proud of this. But, you know, Mom was like, my foot hurts, it shouldn't hurt like this, it shouldn't hurt like this. And everybody's like, you're older, it's harder to get over an injury. I mean, just a tad on the condescending side. But it turns out that the screw that they put into her foot has broken off and is floating around in there, along with one of the rods that they put in her shin, which is probably incredibly painful. And she's going to have another surgery, which no one's looking forward to. And so we're going to have to go through that again. So yeah, I'll be reading some pretty soothing stuff. Now my soothing stuff is, you know, I like my spooky stuff, so it'll be spooky stuff. And I think the next book I'm going to read is Who's Everybody's Little Favorite Girl with a Hatchet, Lizzie Borden. I think I'll be reading the Lizzie Borden book that I got. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, is be reading the Lizzie Borden book I got. So anyway, I just wanted to give an update on this. If you can find this, you can find it, these two novellas are, and I looked it up, are mostly grouped together, or you can find them separately. I would highly recommend. I gave 4 stars to each, which they probably only deserved, like the first one probably only deserved 3, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it to Mary. I had to give her 4 stars. Because she had that atmosphere, she had that world building, and I loved it. And I guess that's all I have to say. And so I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend. And I will check you later.